The next video we're gonna watch is, it looks like Montoya's reaction to the roadmap, and whatever Montoya does, we have to do, because you guys are obsessed with me reacting to Montoya. I think you just want me to cause drama with him, but it's not really gonna happen, I don't think, guys. Like, we don't have to agree on things, but we're not going to. It's not going to cause drama, and I think that's what you guys are trying to do.
We are going to take a look at Star Citizen Roadmap Advanced Release View for March 2nd. This is 2 days ago, when showing us what's coming up in patch 317 and a little peek at 318. Let's jump right into it, beginning with the DNA head textures update. So, a couple of things to discuss here. First of all, they showed in recent Inside Star Citizen how they adding moisture to the bottom of the eye, and if they never said anything about that, I would have never paid attention. I wouldn't have cared. But now that they said that, I cannot stop looking very closely at other games, at the area around the eye, to see if they've done it. And you know what? They haven't. So thank you, Star Citizen, for making me notice something else now, which is bugging the hell out of me in every other game I play. But definitely keeping up with the head texture up.
I feel like the head textures, like I've said this before, they're doing some cool stuff, and yeah, the thing is just like Montoya says, you wouldn't notice it. So it's one of those things that, like, I think they're perfectionists, man. They want everything to be as realistic as possible in SC, but I think so many of these things are going to be glossed over by players, and especially when you look at characters from other game companies. I mean, Jab in chat says that Horizon Zero Dawn has it. I think that's like one of the good examples. Is they're starting to catch up with Star Citizen pretty heavily, and I worry that, like, all this work going into these things are going to be a waste of time almost, because the other games are catching up anyway, so it's not something that separates Star Citizen as much. So doing them now, maybe not as important, perhaps.
Another point to raise here very quickly is people have concerns that Star...
And, like, Sean Tracy heads this stuff. So, Theaters of War, Sean Tracy, right? Like, there are other priorities that could happen here, is what I'm saying.
Citizen is taking so long to make. When the game does release, how will it look compared to other games at the time? So we know that Unreal 5, the game engine, looks spectacular.
Yeah, we
How
agree
will
on so
Star
much.
Citizen look compared to newer, fresher game engines? And the answer is, it'll look good. It'll look great. It will, because they can keep on updating the way things look, as we see right here with DNA head textures being updated yet again. It'll keep up, and it has been keeping up very, very nicely. Next in line...
Well, oh, I see what he's saying. So they have, like, what he's saying is they kind of have to keep up, and that's what they're doing. And yeah, that makes sense to me. I don't love it, because I don't want them to focus on keeping up. I want them to focus on, you know, they have to keep up in other aspects too, of like a functional video game. So if character art can be doing and making things related to the gaming aspect of Star Citizen, that would be nice. And then they can come back and update those things at a later time. So if I was like priority maker, I don't think I would prioritize wetness of an eye. But again, we don't know. I don't know exactly what the wetness of the eye people are capable of doing from a gameplay side.
Lorville Hospital, Maria Pure of Heart is coming along. Space stations and their clinics with the different variations. The coffee shop vendor, which was a topic of endless ridicule, because when the roadmap changed, this is like the only thing they left in there. People thinking this is stupid. Why? But keep in mind, the AI content team that's doing the coffee shop vendor also does the bartender. And the bartender, the guy you interact with, is going to be a major mission giver. So it's not out of the question that everything they do for the coffee shop vendor is the same technology for the bartender, which is someone that you have to interact with in the game, who's going to dish out missions to you. It is kind of important. And moving down to mining gadgets. So
it's kind of important, but the work that they're doing isn't that work, right? It's literally making like these kind of dead NPCs right now, but eventually it'll lead into what he's saying. And yeah, I get it. I think they're just doing it more because it's their step in the progression for subsumption, and there being jobs for NPCs to do. So they need the animations, they need the talking lines, they need all those things because in order for the game to feel alive, there needs to be coffee shop vendors, janitors, bartenders, any job imaginable. So they're just going to go down the line and work on each one, right? So regardless of how stupid a coffee shop vendor may sound, a dead world with nothing happening is also pretty stupid.
This is important. I think these are very, very cool. If you are ever out solo mining in your prospector, guaranteed you have come across the mother lode, but your laser just cannot crack it. You check Discord, all your friends are asleep. What do? You don't want to lose this. Well, the mining gadgets will now be these disposable, I guess, these one-time use items you stick onto the rock. Some of them will have different features, but there'll be one which will allow your relatively lower power laser to perhaps crack the rock that you were unable to crack before, or maybe give it a bigger sweet spot to make it easier. All these different mining gadgets coming in to add a lot of depth, I feel, to the mining profession, which I'm interested to know if they'll translate over to salvage. We can discuss that when
Montoya, they do not add depth at all to mining. They simply make it easier for solo players, where it is already incredibly easy. You may come across the occasional rock that does not do well with the laser that you have, but it is incredibly easy to mine nearly everything, except for 7,500 mass, 40% Quantanium. That is the only thing that you probably cannot mine with what we already have in game. So it does not add depth. It just makes an already easy system even easier, and it takes away from an opportunity for multi-crew even more.
That comes around, but great little feature, and I know mining players are curious to see how that's going to work out for them. Ship-to-ship refueling.
I don't like it.
Yes,
been very
important, but also a great little hidden game loop, which I'm curious to see if it comes its way to Star Citizen. Not yet, because we only have one system, but as the game expands. Now, in Elite Dangerous, there's this group of players called the Fuel Rats. That's it. Fuel Rats are the guys you call when you get stuck way out in the middle of nowhere. We're talking 5 days, 2 weeks out from nowhere. The Fuel Rats will come along and get a whole logistic line going to refuel you and bring you back to normal habitable space. So it's a interesting game mechanic that developed in Elite Dangerous, and I'm dying to see if we get our version of the Fuel Rats coming their way to Star Citizen once we have more places to explore. Obviously, very important ship-to-ship refueling. Selling items to shops, yes. So if you are like me and you like doing those bunker missions, you end up with a ton of guns and armor. What do you do with them? At the moment, nothing. I'll leave them there to rot. But in the very near future, you collect them and you take them to the store and you sell them for extra money. I love the idea because now
hopefully
you can earn more money by selling stuff. But also keep in mind that in the future, you'll come across rare loot, and that rare loot is something you can sell to a shop. All ties in there. RSI Scorpius, let me say right now that I'm furious about the nerfs that the RSI Scorpius is about to get. I'm preempting. I'm getting ahead of the curve here by being angry ahead of the nerf of the RSI Scorpius. Will it get nerfed?
Yes.
You know?
Yes, come on.
Maybe they're going to be smart.
Maybe they're going to be smart. What's that meme from that guy from RuneScape? Maybe they're going to be smart. Yeah, okay.
And pre-nerf the Scorpius and then buff it as people complain later. They may. But RSI Scorpius heavy fighter coming in. Very curious to see how it's going to work. I hope the wings are not made from paper and will fall off at the slightest hint of a breeze. But we'll see where the weaknesses for the RSI Scorpius lie very, very soon. And cargo haulers rejoice. The Misk Hull A making its way in. Gorgeous little hauling ship. And gonna be a big money maker itself.
Here we go.
Cortec new. This was first snuck in. I guess the peak of it was they gave us a small peek about it. I want to say about a year ago at this point.
More
so
like 6
there's
months,
an entire
yeah.
Inside Star Citizen talking about the rivers. No, I'll do a separate video about that because it is pretty big, and it does add a lot of life to the planets and moons wherever it's going to be introduced. They've taken.
He went over mining gadgets, selling, and what else? There was something else on there. But the thing he's going to do another video on is rivers.
A lot of time to build this into the game.
I think he'll do another video on the other
where
ones, though.
All you have to do is say click a button and want a river from there to there, and the game engine will do it all. Put in the rocks, the erosion, the trees, everything it needs. Drains into a basin. I'm not really sure how it's going to work just yet, but there's going to be one river available for us to check in 317, and we'll talk more about that in another video. So subscribe and stay tuned for that. 318, what do you have for us? Not much, but let's take a look at what 318 will offer.
Just having
first
salvage
of all,
and the cargo refactor still there.
So this is big.
Is it?
This is very big. I'm curious to see what role the Argo Raft is going to have. I think the Argo Raft is a spectacularly beautiful ship that is going to be very, very important. So when the cargo system refactor comes in, the Argo Raft will have its can carry, was it three of the large
96
boxes? I forget how many SCUs it is, but it'll use the tractor.
It's a 96 SCU. It is perfectly in line with the SCU that the Mole can carry. So the Argo is very much like functional between its ships, right? So you got the Argo Mole, 96 SCU. You got the Argo Raft, 96 SCU, right?
The beams to load those big cargo containers and then take them off with a planet or wherever it needs to go. I think there's going to be a lot of interesting missions and game loops for ships which can do that. So
not in 318, most likely, but I hope so, Montoya. I really hope so. I just don't. These guys gotta deliver.
Trying to see what they have in store for cargo system refactor. Salvage. All right, so CIG said if it's in the roadmap now, very likely that it will come. So is 318 the patch for salvage? Fingers crossed. Let's see, because salvage gameplay will bring a lot to it, much like mining.
Salvage.
So if you don't like mining rocks, but you do like finding wrecks or exploring wrecks and salvaging.
If you do like mining, if you don't like mining rocks, but you do like mining ships, because that's essentially what it's going to be. It's not what he's about to describe. Like going through, it's just the whole stripping part. But I do hope that like the actor feature team or the EU vehicle content team and some other teams, what I really want to see is the Montreal team take over this, is the wrecks that do show up have gameplay involved in them before you hull strip them. That's, I think, what Montoya is about to imply here. I'm not so sure that's going to be the case, though.
And hull stripping, this is it. I can expect that the early gameplay mechanic will be very similar to mining, where you simply aim a beam at a piece of metal and it's going to draw in whatever is being stripped off the hull, and that's the stuff you sell and make money from. Much later it'll come to a point where you have to actually break the metal apart, and we'll see what happens there, but there's definitely a lot of work to be done, and with that will come the Drake Vulture, which is the equivalent of the Prospector. So solo salvage miners, I'm going to say salvage miners.
It's weird though, because the Vulture is not a beam, so it goes into those two arms. So I'm really curious on how that works. Are we tractor beaming stuff in? I just don't know how any of that's going to work. So very much looking forward to seeing in the next few months any updates on how this is all going to be.
Solo salvagers out there looking for the best solo ship at the moment is the Drake Vulture. That will do it. And if you want to do it by hand, the Grey Cat multi-tool salvage attachment will be coming with that. So as I said, fingers crossed for 318.
Yes.
Dying to get some new game loops in there and hoping that salvage is one of them. And with that, we're wrapped up. But before I go, I gotta say that our thoughts are with everyone in Ukraine, and let's not forget the poor Russian kids being sent over to fight a war that they don't even want. Let's just hope this all ends much sooner than later, and our thoughts are with you. If you
when did he post this video? 3 days ago. Yeah, it's not looking like it's gonna end anytime soon, unfortunately.
enjoy my content, you know what to do. Thumbs up, subscribe, your comments below appreciated. Catch you in the next one.
All right, thank you, Montoya. That's pretty good. Again, guys, I think you guys do try to send me any Montoya video just because you think it might stir up some drama. Me and Montoya agree on most things. So there's the link for Montoya's video in the chat. Make sure you guys check that out if you haven't yet. But yeah, we agree on a lot of things, and I think we kind of see eye to eye on a lot of things. So thank you again, Montoya. And yeah, kind of opened my eyes on a few things as well, for like the coffee shop vendor, and something else that he mentioned earlier opened my eyes. But yeah, interesting.